Hello, students. Hi, good afternoon. It's a lovely afternoon here. It's very hot actually. So, and the good thing is it's not going to rain, hopefully. Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't going to interfere with my internet line, hopefully. Okay. So I see now that you have a few days more for to study for your biology paper. So it's the last stretch already. Yeah. Okay. What we call the pecutan akhir. So I hope by for today's session, I just want to spend some time and then try to give you something, some calculation tips to remember some formulas, how to do calculation questions, and also some questions on essay, which is the environmental issues. Okay, good afternoon. Let me see who's here with me. Yumin, good afternoon. Okay, Shirlene, good afternoon. Okay, so let's get right down to it now. So the sooner we start, the sooner we finish. Okay, so first of all, I just want to give you some pointers. For paper one, there are certain questions that can come up for calculation. Okay, and one of the questions that are quite popular is to calculate the, can you see my screen? Oh, sorry, I have not shared yet. All right, it's to calculate the concentration of vitamin C in the sample, okay, or given the questions are. Okay, so let's see how do we tackle the question. All right, now, so if you can do it, I would like your answer. Just try to type in your answer. Don't forget the unit. Okay, just let me see whether you get the answer. All right, now, okay, I put it's actually double dui bahasa. So jadual menunjukkan. So this table shows the results of experiment to determine the peratus means percentage of vitamin C in orange juice using 0.1% of ascorbic acid. Okay, let's see the results. All right, so 0.1% ascorbic acid, you get you need 1.3 ml, okay, of this ascorbic acid to decolorize your DCPIP solution. And then you repeat it with orange juice, and then you find that you need 1.5 ml of orange juice to decolorize it. Okay, now question here is, what is the percentage of vitamin C in orange juice? Okay, or peratus. Peratus means percentage. All right, let's see the options because it's objective question. All right, 0.01, okay, 0.09. So the unit is not given here because it's already in the question. It means that it's understood that all of them are in percentage form. Okay, 0.09 for B, C 0.10, and D 0.90. Okay, have you worked it out? All right, maybe I would like to, if whoever, I see there are 15 students who are following the live here now, perhaps you would like to try it. You should have revised already because it's already like what, 2 days, 3 days away. Okay, I know tomorrow you'll be busy studying your physics, so I will not touch you tomorrow. Okay, and Monday probably also you need to study on your own. All right, so today will be the last class so far. After your SPM, after the school is open, right? When the school opens, I will start back with my usual lessons. Okay, can I see if anyone has got answers here? B, all right, Yumi says B. Esther, Theo Esther, Shichi. B, all right, okay, no. Okay, I think there's 2 answers only, yeah? Okay, nobody. Okay, now let me see. I won't tell you first answer is what correct. Let me give you the formula. So in order to answer this question, you only need to remember this. And hanya perlu ingat formula ini, okay, which is something that's easy to remember. Okay, just look at this. Percentage of vitamin C equals to 0.1x over y. So this is the simplest way I can give you for you to remember. Now, what is this 0.1? 0.1, okay? 0.1 here refers to the concentration of the standard solution that's given to you, which is your ascorbic acid. But so look carefully, yeah? If the question is giving you 1% ascorbic acid, then make sure you don't put 0.1 here. You have to put 1. Or if the question gives you 0.5% of ascorbic acid, so here must be 0.5. So this 0.1 is not fixed. This 0.1 refers to the percentage of the ascorbic acid that is given to you as a standard, okay, for you to compare with your orange juice. Okay, now then what is X? Okay, very simple. X is always referring to the volume of the ascorbic acid. Because 0.1 times X, that means it's together, right? 0.1 is the concentration. X is the volume of the same solution. So if 0.1 is the ascorbic acid, your X is referring to your ascorbic acid. Okay, all right, don't mix up. And then you divide by Y. And Y is the volume of the solution which you want to test. That means your orange juice or pineapple juice or whatever juice it is that you have to put into the DCPIP in order to decolorize it. Okay, so 0.1 X over Y. So here, very simple, you put everything into this formula. All right, so 0.1 times 1.3 divided by 1.5. Yes, you're both correct. In fact, all of you are correct. Charlene, Theo, right? Esther, and Yumi. Okay, very good. You have done your revision. Okay, so you already know this very well. Okay, now let me give you another question. So 0.09%. Remember, when you use this formula, your answer, the unit of your answer is in percentage form, not in mg per ml or mg per centimeter cube. Okay, your answer is in percent form. Okay, now what if the question wants your answer in this unit? Mg per ml, okay, or mg per cm cube, or per cm cubic cm. Okay, so these three same students, right, who have answered me so well for the B, can you give your answer? I'm not giving you any ABCD here. Can you tell me what is the answer now? If the question wants the answer in mg per ml or mg cm, it's the same. 1 ml is equivalent to 1 cubic cm. Okay, but the difference here is why sometimes you use ml, sometimes you use cm. Okay, in terms of the volume, they are both reference. This is the unit for volume. They are referring to the same volume. So 1 ml is equal to 1 centimeter cube. But why there are two? Usually ml is used to measure liquids, the volume of liquid. For cm cube, it is usually the, you can use it for solids. For example, you have a block or a square, what they call a cuboid, okay, or a cube. So you just times the length, times the width, times the height, and your answer, the volume of the cuboid is blah, 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 centimeter cube. Okay, so that is more for solid, but liquid also can. But for ml, is strictly for liquid. You don't use the volume of a solid and you give the answer in ml per ml, okay, ml. No, you always do it for cm cube for solid. Okay, so what is the answer? Just waiting for your answers. No answers. Okay, maybe you're not, now you're already caught off guard. What happens if they ask you in that way, you do not know the answer already? Okay, I'm going to give you a simple way to answer. I'll give you answer. All right, simple way to find the answer. So what you need to do is you use back the same formula. Okay, the same formula which you use to find the percentage, which is 0.1 x over y. And you got the answer at 0.09, correct? 0.09%. All right. Now, if the question requires you to convert it into mg per ml or mg per cm cubic cm, okay, that's an easy way. Now I got answer already. Esther, 0.9. Okay, make sure you write your unit. You mean 0.9 mg per ml or 0.9 mg per cm cube? Okay. So now, answer, very simple. What you need to do is you first use your formula, get your 0.09%, and you take that number, please, times 10. Okay, no need to ask me why, blah, 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 all this. Okay, you don't need to know the explanation because this is a simple formula, a simple way for you to convert it, because all this will only come out in your objective. Maybe structure just a bit, but you're not required to explain why you get your mg, enough for a percentage, how you get your mg ml, and you don't need to, to show all these things. So the fast and easy way, just take your 0.09% times 10, and there you have it, 0.9 mg per ml or 0.9 mg per centimeter cube. Okay, simple as that. You must use the formula first, but always remember, when you use that, your formula is always in percentage. And then when you want to convert into that, you just convert into mg ml per ml or mg per cm cube, just times 10. Finish and done. Okay, no need to explain anything because the most important thing is you want the answer. All right, okay, so well done. All right, you mean Esther, you've got it right. You got it right. Hope you didn't take too much trouble to get it because there's an easy way. Just take your percentage times 10. Okay, let me go to another calculation question. Okay, now another question that can come up for calculation is the looking for the energy value of food. Okay, now if you're looking for the energy value of food, some objective question, I think better don't rely on formula. Mostly it will not be given to you. If they give it to you, it's only for paper 3, which you have already done, all right, with your vitamin C, the formula was given to you. So if you were given a paper 3 by Amali, your practical, with this energy value, so probably you'll be given the formula. But again, so if it's objective, you may not get the formula. So always remember, ingatlah formula. It's not difficult, bukan sangat susah ya. Okay, macam mana nak ingat how to remember? Okay, first of all, the formula here is energy value. You're looking for energy value. To 4.2. Now this is a fixed number. This is a specific heat, this energy. That means you need 4.2 joule to this 4.2 joule of energy has to be absorbed by 1 gram of water in order to raise the temperature to 1 degree Celsius. Okay, so it's 4.2. If it's 1 kilo of water, it will be 4,200. Okay, so you take this 4.2. You have learned in physics, I'm sure that MC theta, M is for the mass, C is for the specific heat energy, the heat, the value, 4.2 constant. The theta is the change in the temperature, the difference in the initial and final temperature. Okay, MC theta. So 4.2 times mass of water, you already learned in chemistry, physics, times the difference in the temperature. So you take your final minus the initial, because the final will increase because you've burned the kacang, or you burn the food. So the food, the energy released by the food, the burning food, would have been transferred into the boiling tube and is absorbed by the water. So the water temperature will rise. It shows that this is the amount of energy released by your burning food. It's going to be transferred into the water. Okay, and then don't forget to divide by mass of food, because the answer is in per gram. So if you divide it by mass of food, your answer will be per gram. That means 1 gram of this food, A, will give you blah, 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 joule. Okay, that's what it means. And then there's sometimes you get a 1,000 at the bottom here. Okay, now 1,000 here, don't worry about it. You can choose to put or not to put. But if you put, right here, if you put your 1,000 here, that means your answer will be in kilojoule per gram. All right, so let's do the working. All right, let's see. So if you put 1,000 here, your answer is going to be, or working is 4.2 times 20. Now, why 20? 20 is the mass of water, but you're given volume. How come mass of water you can convert to volume? Okay, very simple reason is density of water is 1 gram per ml. That means 1 ml of water, as in volume, will be equal to 1 gram. That's the meaning of density. Okay, you have this much of water in terms of volume. The weight, or not the weight, the mass will be in 1 gram. So because it's given this, then you can directly use your 20 ml as 20 grams. Okay, no need to do any calculation. 20 ml of water is definitely 20 grams because of the density of water is 1 gram per ml. All right, okay. So initial 29, final 34. You look at the difference. 34 minus 29, you get 5. And divide by 5. And also divide by 1,000. Okay, now, some students will do a wrong thing. If you use a normal calculator, you don't use a scientific one, let's say. I want to show you a simple method to do a calculation using a normal calculator. Okay, you do not need to use bracket, because in normal calculator, there's no bracket. Okay, you can use a normal calculator to do this. What you need to punch in your calculator is just this. You do this, one step. You punch everything. Even you can also do it for your scientific calculator. You punch it this way. 4.2 times, you punch 4.2 times 20 times 5 divide by 5, divide by 1,000. Be careful here. Don't go and puncture times, because actually it's divided. This is the divide line. So don't go and see what you times. You're going to divide by 5 and then you times 100. Answer definitely wrong. So you can punch in there, right? 4.2 times 20 times 5 divided by 5. Of course, you get 1. Then again, you divide by 1,000. You are going to get 0.084. Okay, and the answer will be kilojoule because you have divided by 1,000. Okay, per gram. So this is per gram because mass of food, you divided by mass of food, your answer will be per gram. So that means 1 gram of the food, whatever food that you burn, would give you 0.084 kilojoules of energy. Okay, now what if the question wants you in joule per gram? They do not want you to give answer in kilojoule. Okay, so you're looking at the same question. If I want my answer in a joule per gram, simple way is no need to divide by 1,000. You can see here is empty. Do not divide by 1,000. Just divide by mass of food. Your answer will be in joule per gram. Okay, it's the same answer. It's going to be 84 joule per gram, which is the same as 0.084 kilojoule per gram. So remember, your 1,000 there is to convert it into kilojoule. If you don't put your 1,000, you can still get the answer, but make sure your unit is J, which is joule, not kJ. Okay, so that is those minor mistakes students will make. Okay, if no question, let me carry on. Next one. Okay, population estimation. Okay, now this is also another calculation which is quite common that can come out in the objective. They ask you, right? An experiment was carried out to estimate the density of this Mimosa pudica. This is the pokok semalu. When you touch the leaves, it's going to fold up, all right? Because this is the thigmonasty response. Okay, so quadrats are measuring 1 times 1 meter were used. So this is important information. You need to know how big your quadrat is. So, and then again, be careful, it's not always 1 by 1. So I read the question 2 times. It could be 0.5 times 0.5. Okay, and then you put into a formula, make sure it's going to be 0.5 times 0.5. Not always 1. Okay, let's look at the data. The quadrat, you did 5. That means you did you threw the quadrat that thing 5 times. The first time it landed onto the grass or onto the field, you found there are 2 Mimosa pudica, so you put 2 there. Okay, then you do a second time, you find 3, and then the third time you throw, so happen it didn't land on any Mimosa, so 0. Okay, so you did it 5 times. If you want to get a more accurate reading, usually you do more. The more sampling you take, that means you do 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times, provided you have the time, all right? You will get data which is very, very close to the actual number of population in the field. Okay, if you have the time, if you have the patience, you do more, your answer will be more accurate. Okay, this is a statistics kind of universal law, all right? Okay, now, formula. Don't be scared. It's very easy. What you need to do is you find the density. You just need to plus all this one. How many individuals can you get in all the quadrants? So you plus 2 plus 3 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0. And you divide by the number of quadrats. So here there are 5 quadrats. Divide by 5. And don't forget the quadrat area. Even though it seems like 1, you should by right put into the formula, into your calculation. The danger comes if it's not 1. If it's 0.5 times 0.5, now your quadrat area is not 0.5. 0.5 times 0.5 is actually 0.25. Be careful with that. Okay, and then your answer will be, of course, different. You need to put your quadrat area inside. Okay, let's look at the calculation one by one. It's important. So here, calculation here is 7 over 5 times 1 meter square. Quadrat area is meter square. So this is the only unit you have, because on top here is individual. Individual means pokok. So there are 7 pokok in this in this 5 meter area. Okay, so that means in 1 meter area, how many plants are there? Okay, in 1 meter area, you should get 1.4 individuals or pokok or plants per unit per meter square, or 1.4 m negative 2. It just means that in 1 meter square area, you should be able to find on average 1.4 pokok of Mimosa pudica. I know it's going to be very weird, 1.4, right? Doesn't matter because it's calculation, calculated. So 1.4 is perfectly fine. Okay, so this is your density. Now, besides asking for density, they can also ask another 2 more parameter from here. From the, this is called the population ecology. Okay, how to estimate the population. This is the quadrat sampling method. Okay, next one. They can also ask percentage coverage. So percentage coverage is more suitable for plants which are not big trees. You cannot identify it's a tree on its own because they are more or less like joined together. So like for example, grass, because of the underground runner, all right, you find that you can't really identify which is one grass or one plant on its own. It's like all joined together. So for this, you can use a percentage coverage. You can also use it for kulat, or we call mold, on the petri dish. You can also use it for the lichen on the rocks or on the trees, and also the pleurococcus, some kind of algae growing on the surface of the tree, which is wet. All right, the bark or the koolid is wet. You have some algae growing there. That will be pleurococcus. So you can do that by what you do. You take your transparent. This one has to be either transparent or the wire mesh. Okay, you put it over the area. You do an estimation. If it's this area only got the grass, let's say around, this is all grass, and that one pasir, this is all sand, nothing there, no plant. So here you can see roughly maybe like 0.3. Okay, it's a bit more than 0.25, right? Then if you do another one, put another place, maybe you can get like something like this. This side got, that side don't have, maybe do an estimation of 0.8 lah. Okay, and then you repeat as many times as you can. Quadrat size is 1 meter square. Okay, so calculation. So it's almost the same calculation. You just need to add up everything. The total area. This is not total individual lah. You cannot have 0.3 pokok. It is the area. Okay, that means it's less than 1 of the square here. So it's always 0 point something. Add up everything. Divide by the number of quadrats. So again, you see there are 5 quadrats, and so happen that the quadrat size is 1 lah. So be careful. I said you cannot not always be 1 lah. So what you need to do is you just put in this formula 2.3. Now, percentage coverage you have to put in percent because it's percentage coverage. So you have to put in percent times percent. For the other formula, just not density, no need to times 100%. Okay, but percentage coverage, because they want in percentage, so you need to times 100, and your answer will be 46%. Okay, so this is how you find percentage coverage suitable for plants that they crawl or they creepers because you can't identify which is one pokok, which is another pokok. So kulat, which is mold, which is the colony of the mold, bacteria and all that. All right, whatever you have this lichen, pleurococcus, or grass. Okay, one more before I go on to today's essay. How to find frequency? And another thing I ask you is frequency. Now, this is one question which is usually students get it wrong because they tend to, they'll add up together, all this add all together, right? And then you divide by the number of how many, there are 5 quadrats, and then divide by the whatever. That is not frequency, okay? Frequency, you use this formula. Total number of quadrats with species. So you don't add up your 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 0 plus 0. No. What you need to do is you see how many quadrats have you used. I have used 5. That means I did my experiment 5 times. I threw my quadrat 5 times onto the field to get my sampling, right? And then in those 5 times, there are 2 which I don't have anything. Right? That means I didn't get any plant and inside my quadrat. So that one don't count. So you take this as one quadrat with the sample that you want. This is another quadrat with the sample that you want. And this is another quadrat with the sample. Altogether, there are only 3 quadrats with the Mimosa pudica that you want to investigate. So don't add your 2 plus 3 plus 2. Rather, you just take, okay, 1 ada, ini pun ada, ini pun ada. So you have 3, not 7. So the total number of quadratic species is 3 now. 3. Divide by the number of quadrats. So altogether, there are 5. All right. So 3 over 5. And no need to times with the area. No need to times with the area of the quadrat. So 3 over 5 times 100%. Frequency can be 100%, can also be fraction. You can also leave your answer as 0.6 if you do not times 100%. Okay, so your frequency can be 0.6. Your frequency can be 60%. Okay, frequency means that how often do you get that sample inside your quadrat. Okay, you so happen you threw 5 times, you got 3 of them with the sample you want. So remember, do not add your 2 plus 3 plus 2. Just take how many. Okay, I hope it's clear, right? It's clear, right? Okay, so very simple. Just that sometimes you need a refresher, right, to remember things like that. Okay, since your exam is near, I want to remember, help you to remember. Okay, one more. This is for plants, I remember. These are for measuring, we call it estimation of population for plants or things that do not move. Okay, they do not move very fast. Because once you put your quadrat there, if it's an animal that can move like ants, by the time you throw it there, you walk over there, your animals or your ants are all gone off already, all run away from the quadrat. Okay, you cannot estimate the correct number because they keep on running, right? So for animals, you need to use this mark, capture, release, recapture, MCRR. Okay, so this is a method which the ecologists all they do. They want to track how many population, how many individuals in that particular area. Okay, so here I give you a question. So this is the result of a study carried to estimate the population size of snail, siput babi, right, in the field. So this siput babi, they don't, they move, yeah, but they don't move very fast, all right? So you can actually, easy to catch them also, all right? So let's look at the data. Now you have to set a trap to catch your snail. So let's say you put your trap there first time, right? So this is your first sample. After you after you go away and come back, you see, oh, this is the number of snails that went into your trap. So 30, let's say, right? So, and then after that, what you need to do is you take all your 30 and you're going to mark it with a certain ink that is not going to harm the animal, but it's clear enough to see. Make sure it's not waterproof, because once it rains habis, you don't see your marking anymore. Then all your effort of this one is all gone. Okay, so make sure it's waterproof, does not harm the animal, and it's not so bright until it can be seen by by the animal's predator, and that is going to make it easy to be killed off. The number will become less. Okay, so make sure you have certain criteria for your marking. Okay, then you release. After you mark your 30, you must let it go immediately. All right, let it go and let it mingle with the others in their habitat. Then after that, you come back again and set another trap, all right, in the same place, the same size of the trap, and then you catch another time. So that is your second sample, 20. So now from the 20, definitely there are some which are so unlucky to be caught another time. So it's going to be marked. Okay, the individual that you marked earlier, you let go. Now it came back again and it got marked. You got caught. Okay, and there are also some which are new. That means they were not caught. So they're going to have a mixture of marked and unmarked snails in your second sample. Okay, and then they give you here the data. Unmarked snails got 15. Okay, now how are you going to do your calculation? Can you tell me, anyone who's there working out the calculation? Can you tell me? Indian ink, yes, correct. Indian ink, that's a good one. You don't need to have Indian ink. You can also use cellulose ink, all right? That is not going to be what you call it's going to be waterproof, all right? Now, can you give me an answer? Probably you can work out. Trishan, okay? Shirlene, Yumin, Esther, you try to find out. Okay, it's not difficult. Grab a calculator, start punching. It's very easy. Okay, so let's see if you have it right. Anyone? Okay, let me wait for your answer. All right, 120. All right, Yumin says 120. Okay, but Charlene, what about Esther, Trish? Any answer? 120, you use 30 times 20, is it? Then let me see how you get 120. 30 times 2. Wait, sorry. Yes, anyone? Anyone other than Yumin? Okay. No answer. All right, let me try. I'm not going to wait anymore. Okay, so your formula here is A times B divided by C. So be careful. You know what is A? A is definitely the first sample. The number of snails in the first sample times the number of snails in the second sample. Okay, don't care whether it's marked or unmarked. You just take everything from the B. So 30 times 20, and you divide by C. C is actually referring to the number of marks. So this is where a person try to confuse you lah, right? See whether you're A plus student or just a B plus student. Okay, it's unmarked snails. You don't look for the unmarked snails to put in your formula. You use the marked snail. So that means unmarked here, you must minus off from the second sample snail. So the marked organism, if 15 is marked, that means 5 will be unmarked, isn't it? This is referring to the second sample. So this is referring to the second sample. Nothing to do with first sample. So second sample is 20, but 15 is marked, that means 15 is unmarked, that means 5 is marked. So you put your 5 inside that. Yes, correct. Okay, you mean very good. You have done your revision. Okay. Yes, everyone correct. 120. Don't go and put 15 there. That's why you read your question twice. Make sure you read your question twice and make sure you see the word properly, unmarked, instead of reading as marked. Okay, now let's go to the questions. This is environmental questions. So what I'm sharing with you, it's bona fide, that means answer scheme that was used for that year, all right, for SPM. So I just want to give you an idea. If you ever come across these kind of questions, what do you want? What you're supposed to write? Okay, so give you an idea. So this is popular ecotourism in Malaysia. It's look at chalet by the seaside and all that. So this is C, right? So question: discuss the effects of the ecotourism activities to the community. Community means human, people, all right, and the environment. So there are two things to tackle here. You need to talk about the effect, all right, to the community and also the environment. So not just to the people. Environment means it's wider. It's to the animals, to the water, to the air, everything. Okay, the whole area. So you have to look at the keywords. Kesan, that means effect. Now the effect, they never say good or bad. Correct? Everything also has good or bad. Everything that you do, right, has a positive and negative. So here you have to talk about the good effects and the bad effects. So that's why students will get it wrong or didn't do so well, because they will end up always talking about one side. They talk about the good effect of the ecotourism and they forget about the bad effects, because this question never tell you specifically good effect or bad effect. They just say the effects. You touch on both. Okay, on what? Community, that means human, their livelihood and all that, and the environment. Okay, good effects. Okay, when good effects, you have ecotourism, it brings in of course more job opportunities lah. You have the pemandu pelancong, right? You have these tour guides and all that. They will be able to find jobs, right? These are points given. G means good points, the good effect. Increases economic growth. When the tourists come over, they spend money in your country or in your city or in your town. It's good for the economic growth. Okay. Improve infrastructure. So when your town has a higher standard, they will provide maybe hospitals or maybe parks and all that. Okay, so better facilities, because it is ecotourism. This is an area where a lot of tourists like to come. So definitely they will step up the facilities over there. Okay. Shopping center, all right, maybe because tourists, they come and they also want to shop, all right. Then maybe attract tourists, all right. All these are the points that you have to write. These are the main points. You elaborate on your own. When we mark, we will look at the points only. Okay, the keywords. So when we look at the keywords, we say, okay, this has a similar meaning to that. It doesn't have to be the same sentence or same words, but if it has the same meaning, it will also be accepted. Okay, So next one, young generation can appreciate biodiversity because they understand, will see the nature, all right? They will fall in love with the sea, they fall in love with the lakes and so on, okay? And then maintain or preserve the ecosystem or the environment. So these are the good effects lah, all right? See, there's any more? That's all. That's for the good effects. All right, later if you want to copy down the points, you just rewind back the video and you can see. All right, just pause it and you copy down if you want to. Okay, bad effects. Bad effects, of course, you have to talk about effects. When you build anything, you have to end up clearing the forest, right? When you build any new infrastructure or facility, definitely you are going to harm the environment in one way or other. Okay, so I think there's something in the chat. Teacher, can we write point form in essay part? Yes, you can. You can, but try not to make it as short as this. Okay, because sometimes when it's so short, the meaning is not clear. You can write point form, but make sure it is sentence. Don't put habitat dash destroyed. Habitat or what? What habitat destroyed? Okay. Don't just put dash comma dash comma dash all this. No, no, no. You have to write in full sentence. You can write in point form. All right. But point form, of course, is you end up not elaborating much lah. But if you're used to writing essay, normally your ideas will flow, isn't it? When you're writing an essay, when you keep on writing, ideas keep on coming. So that's why you tend to give explanation. But if you write points, you tend to stop there. All right, point number one, dot. There's no explanation. That is the disadvantage of writing in point form, because it doesn't keep your juices running. But when you write an essay, you find that sometimes, you drag along, the words keep coming or the idea keep coming, and then you write it. But of course, make sure it's easy for the examiner to find your points. Okay, you can underline some basic words, but do not highlight. Okay, do not highlight your answer with marker pen, the highlighter, because all these answers are going to be scanned. Okay, scan. When it's scanned, put into the scanner, the markers all over Malaysia are going to mark it online. So when it scan it, the highlighter will be scanned as black color. It is going to cover your answer. So the examiner or the marker cannot see your answer. You can underline, right, in pen or whatever, but do not highlight. I repeat, do not highlight, because this is what happened last year. All right, there were answer from the student or the calon. They highlighted the answer with highlighter, and when they scanned it, the whole thing became black. I mean, that line was black. You couldn't see your answer. So I don't know what happened lah. Maybe they have to go and manually go and look back to the persons, the cari balik the actual paper. They have to mark it again lah. Okay, manually. But of course, a lot of unnecessary work lah. Okay, so remember now water pollution like this you cannot just say water pollution. You say this causes water pollution. Make a sentence. Don't just put the point there. Okay, I hope I answer your question. That is Zing Yi Tan. Bad effect, blah, 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 blah. Can we write like this? And I say, yes, you can. Bad effect, write all the points, but not just the keyword. Make sure you give in sentence form. Okay, Yi Tan. So bad effect, dot, dot, you have to write, okay, blah, 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 this habitats, the habitats of flora and fauna will be destroyed or are going to be destroyed. Okay, can, perfectly fine, because it's a sentence. Okay, besides this, water pollution will also occur. Okay, then you give elaboration on why, how we're going to get water pollution, that kind of thing. But when we mark, it's because we're looking for these words. Okay, so that's why I don't want to give you in essay form, because you're going to know where is your point. So I'm going to give you in B1, B2, B3. You know what are the points that are going to be given marks. Okay, due to domestic waste or rubbish or sewage, because people throw rubbish. Okay, when what do you call the tourists come over, definitely they have to eat, isn't it? They buy food, they have to throw the rubbish somewhere. So more tourists, more people equals more rubbish. Okay, more domestic waste. All right. Okay, welcome, Zingi. Next. So activities of anaerobic bacteria increases when you got more rubbish. It's going to decompose. So it's going to decompose, your anaerobic bacteria become more active, right? And it's going to use up oxygen. You see, when you write like this, your idea will come flow. The juices will come, okay? Because this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. It is continuous, okay? It is, you are encouraged to write in essay form, but if you cannot, you want to write point, but make sure the continuity is there. You can write point by point, point by point you can write, but make sure the continuity. So activities of the anaerobic bacteria increases, so there'll be less oxygen in the water. So what's the next thing to write? When you have less oxygen, you write about BOD. Okay, make sure you correct balik all your facts about biology. So your biochemical oxygen demand will increase, because that when your BOD increases, that means there's a lot of activity inside the water that uses up oxygen. That means maybe decomposition, okay, respiration, whatever, anaerobic respiration. All this is going to happen in the water when there's a lot of organic substances and you have your bacteria there. Okay, next. So your aquatic organisms die because the oxygen level drops, right? So you can see the continuity and the kesan. The food web will be disrupted when one organism dies, because this is going to be the food for another organism. So you'll find that it is going to affect the other species, because they will have less food to eat. Okay, then that's what you do when you elaborate. You're going to make it clearer for the examiner to see that you know what you're talking about. Okay, and make the point very clear. That's why you write in essay form. There's continuity there. Okay, if I write only BOD, yes, can right? I think BOD, like DNA, is quite acceptable. You don't need to write the full term. But if you're afraid, just write it once first. Biochemical oxygen demand. I always tell my students, we do not know whether the scheme will change or not, and suddenly something happened and then they won't change a new scheme. Okay, this time they say, oh, this time cannot accept, then habis lah, mati lah, right? So to be on the safe side, always write the full term once, then put in bracket that short form. You can use it again because you already mentioned it earlier. Okay, so food web disrupted, that means some of your food chain, some of the animals going to die. Then it's going to affect your fishing industry in the area. Some fish are going to die, they cannot find enough food. Okay, and of course that is going to affect the nelayan, or we call the fishermen, right? Their livelihood will not be so good. Then causes imbalance to ecosystem. Whenever you disrupt the food chain, it's going to be, the next point to say is causes imbalance to the ecosystem. Okay, because one organism, if it's in the food chain, when this one increase, it's going to affect the other one, isn't it? All right, this one increase, that one increase, right? And then when this one decrease, that one will decrease, and so on. So it's going to be affecting your entire food chain, and it's going to affect your ecosystem. So think of it that way. Continue. All right, okay. So I hope so far okay. Let me carry on with the next question. All right, I mean the next part of the question. Okay, here you can see you may need 10 points, but you must mention good and bad. You cannot be mentioning 10 points all for good. You will not get your full 10 marks. Okay, now next one. Now B, this is B. Just now was 10 marks, another 10 marks here. We cannot continue to pollute the earth without facing the consequences. Consequences are akibat. You do something that has the akibat, all right? Our demand for resources will be like the natural resources like petroleum, gas, all these, coal, things that we need to produce energy from, have to be balanced with the need to sustain the resources. So we can use, okay, the thing is, you cannot say totally don't use, but you have to balance it with the need to sustain. Sustain the resources means you cannot finish it. You must make sure you don't finish it. For example, if you want to cut back the trees, that's called sustainable. Okay, your tree can be sustainable resources if you make sure you plant back. Of course, you cannot be planting just one for one. You cut one, you plant more, because they take a long time to grow. Okay, trees will take a long time. So what's the question now? Based on the statement, suggest how 3R program, reduce, reuse, and recycle of resources, can be practiced to create a green environment in your school. Okay, bagaimana boleh diamalkan untuk menjadikan satu persekitaran hijau di sekolah Anda? See carefully. They want school. Do not talk something about very general. The environment, the nature, blah, 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 the entire country, whatever. They want you to go back and talk about it in school. What can you do in your school to practice this 3R program? reduce, reuse, recycle. Okay, so you can break it up. Talk about reduce, what can you reduce? Then you can reuse what, and also what can you recycle? Okay, so this is what can be done for this question. Okay, let's go to it. In Scholar, make sure you talk about Scholar. Okay, so reduce, let's break it down. Reduce. So what can you reduce in school? The concept of using, what is the meaning first? This concept of reducing. So you talk about the concept. This is the concept of using less, or you try to minimize the material or the substance that you're using. Don't use so much, in other words. Okay, try to reduce it. Okay, so examples. What can you do to reduce it in school? So you encourage students to bring their own reusable cutlery instead of using the disposable one. Okay, you of course end up throwing more rubbish, right? So this is reduce your garbage, right? Reduce using this one. So examples, essay also, it is good for you to give examples. Communicate through phone. So try to encourage the warga sekolah, people who are in the school, try to don't print so many of these flyers that you want to tell the students. You put it on the website. Nowadays, because of online learning, everybody has a group. Students have a group, teachers have a group. So you communicate information in that way. Email. Use the paperless. We're trying to go for paperless society. Okay, use less paper. Print on both sides of the paper. If your paper you print wrongly, don't throw it away. You can use it as a rough paper, then you print on the other side. Or you also print whatever material you want, you print both sides. Don't go and print the single side. Use energy saving bulbs. Okay, encourage people to use energy saving bulbs. So here, energy saving bulbs, you use less energy, less electricity to produce the same amount of brightness. Because, for example, using LED lamps or LED lights, the technology is different from the normal filament bulb. Filament bulb, you make sure what they do is the concept is you burn the tungsten until it heats up, becomes so bright that you get the glow, the orange color light. But LED is a different technology. You can be using 18-watt bulb and the brightness is comparable to a 60-watt filament bulb. Okay, the brightness is the same. You're using only 18 watt for the LED light, but you're using 60 watt for the normal one. Definitely 60 watt means you use more electricity. Okay, so that is the idea. Conserve the use of water. All right, try not to use so much water in the school. All right, this is, you can give example. Then now, second concept of reusing. What is the meaning of reusing? The concept of using again. Using as much as possible before you replace them. Try to use it as much as you can before you throw it away or you just sort of like condemn it. Okay, next one. Examples under reusing. So collect or reuse paper that is blank on one side. So you reuse paper like I said, one side you already printed, you've written one side, you can use the other side, okay, to use your rough drawing or whatever, or your calculation. Next, donate unwanted computer, things that you do not want to use, but maybe other people can make use of it. Okay, some people do not mind. Maybe especially the orphans, they don't mind second-hand clothing. Maybe you mind because you find it's old, you find it's you are afford to buy new ones. But some people who are so poor, they don't mind getting free clothing. All right, so you donate it to people who need it. Book furniture, equipment. Okay, use rechargeable batteries. Use batteries that can be recharged because it's going to instead of throwing your batteries which may leak the chemical into the soil, it will find its way into the food chain later. Okay, so use rechargeable batteries. There are many, you can go up to a few thousand cycles before you dispose of it. Okay, you collect or use plastic, right? Use again plastic now, right? Don't just use it single use. Try to make it maximize the usage. Collect or reuse glass. Okay, glass is more durable. You also reuse it. Use your glass, wash it, clean it, use it to put something else. Okay. Next one, recycle. Recycle what? What's the meaning of recycle? It's a concept of turning waste product, something that you do not want is to throw already, into a new product. That means you process it again. It is making it into a new purpose. Use it for something else. You have to process it like the aluminum cans. All right, you can use it. Some people use it to make in Thailand. They use the aluminum can openers, the cover, the tin, whatever thing, to make prosthesis for people who are amputees, people who have cut away, for accidents, or they have the broken arm, or not broken up, they cut the arm, they already, don't have the legs, they can use it to make, aluminum is light material, so they make the false leg, they make the false arm. Okay, so use recycle bins to collect or sell waste material. All the three color, the brown, the green, the brown, the orange, and the dark blue. Okay, the color. Okay, collect beverage containers in school, collect all your aluminum cans, collect papers, magazines, books to recycle. All right, purchase paper or supplies made from recycled materials. So try to support companies that make products using recycled materials, like pencil. I've seen pencil, they use paper to wrap the graphite, so it's recycled material. Okay, carry out composting. That means you take your this organic food substances which you want to throw away, you put into the soil and it becomes budget, it becomes fertilizer. Okay, you can also collect organic food from the canteen, cooking oil. Okay, cooking oil, you can use it to make soap. Okay, you know that, you can supportification in your chemistry. So food waste you can also use to composting. Then break down naturally in the compost bin, almost same point as the previous one. Educate, you can also carry out campaigns, educate students, teachers, and staff. This is in the school environment, how to teach them how to do composting or recycle resources. Okay, additional points that you can use. Organize campaign, or maybe you are in the Interact Society or Leo Society. You can organize. This is what you can do in school. Always remember, you limit it to school, because that's what the question wants. Awareness during special occasions. All right, then keep the parents informed by events regarding 3R, maybe through WhatsApp, through this email, and so on. Okay, so this can be used. Right, this is perfectly fine for you to use for answering questions like this. Okay, for 10 marks, you must have this touch each group. Reduce must have at least one, reuse, and also recycle. So you cannot be leaving out any, you will not get full mark. Okay, so now second question. So I think we'll try to finish it as fast as we can. So this is an ecosystem. Now, if they give you a picture, always look at the picture carefully. What does the picture tell you? And always take the data from that. What information that they show you? For example, look at the question first. Many new factories are built nearby the river. Explain the bad effect. So here, just talk about the bad. Don't need to talk about the good already. The presence of factories to the ecosystem. So what does the factory do? The bad effect of having the factory there. Okay, you can see that the river, right? You can see what this plankton eaten by the small fish eaten by the river, the fish. And then you can see here, the factory is spewing smoke, not smoke, gases actually. Talk about the type of gases. So you can see that the gases, don't just talk about smoke, it's not very technical, talk about the name of the gas. Okay, and also you can see the food chain here, the eagle, right, eating the fish, there's a rabbit there, so it's going to affect the food chain. If any of the animals here absorb the poison, you can see here, given up by the factory, you can see these effluents being thrown into the river. Look carefully at the picture. Then the kebun sayo, maybe they will put in pesticides, which also flows into the river. But now we're talking about factories, so no need to talk about the vegetable farm. Okay, now here, this is the food chain. So explain the bad effects. Okay, so talk about this. When you talk about factories releasing smoke, do not forget to talk about your greenhouse gases. That means it includes all these gases which warm the environment, which are able to trap heat. Methane, carbon dioxide, especially your carbon dioxide is a very big culprit of your greenhouse gases. Okay, membebaskan gas rumah hijau. So be technical. Say, what does carbon dioxide do? They trap heat. Okay, they trap heat. They have carbon dioxide trapped at the atmosphere, and this in turn will trap the heat because you have a lot of carbon dioxide there. Okay, so use all these points. These are the points that can carry marks. Do not say general things like, temperature rises. Why? Where does the temperature rise? Okay, you know temperature rises, but you cannot explain why the temperature rises, because of carbon dioxide trapping the heat. Okay, increases the environmental temperature. Okay, of course, you see, all these you can elaborate further, but the point must be that leads to greenhouse effect. Okay, this environmental temperature rising ultimately will cause greenhouse effect, okay, which warms whatever the environment, the ice cap, polar ice cap will melt and so on. Okay, so the bad effect. Right. Next one. Some more, denatured photosynthetic enzyme. So the temperature rising, okay, because of the temperature rise in the environment. So your photosynthetic enzymes, the enzymes that help photosynthesis to happen, can also be denatured because of the temperature. The eutrophication, yes, that is also very scientific. Yes, if you have now, but eutrophication, be careful. It's more not for poison, not for factory throwing all these all these toxic chemicals. It is more for the nitrates and the phosphates. Nitrate and phosphate, because of the budget, the fertilizer which you use excessively, it is not fully absorbed by the plant. The excess goes into the river, and then you have eutrophication, goes into the lake. Not because of the factory giving off the poisonous thing. That will not be eutrophication. Eutrophication is enrichment of the water environment. That means the water system, where because you have these nitrates and your phosphate, so the algae will grow and it will bloom. Then we have the algal bloom. It covers the surface. Okay, I'm sure you can read more. Cover the surface, and then the sunlight cannot penetrate. So the plants, submerged plants, cannot get enough sunlight. So they will ultimately do not get enough oxygen. So they will die. So when they die, you see, it's all continuous. It will ferment, not ferment, it will undergo decomposition by the bacteria. In the end, you get a lot of all this methane produced, and all this, your lake becomes a dead lake. Okay, so that is the whole story, but please read up. Okay, now, so it causes slower rate or lower rate. When you say rate, by right, you should say lower rate of photosynthesis. So the enzyme, the photosynthesis it's not as fast because the temperature has risen. And then the growth rate of plants becomes slower because the rate of photosynthesis reduces. So it is going to be slower, all right? And then it reduces plant population. That means the hasil tanaman become less, and it also may cause extinction. That means certain plants can die. All right, okay? And that in turn causes less biodiversity. That means certain plants will no longer be on this earth. That means you don't have so many types of species anymore. That's called less biodiversity. Global warming, yes, you can write global warming, but your global warming will be up to this one. Tie back with these gases, the greenhouse gases are this one. So it causes your global warming. Yes, can. Okay, it's all related. Your greenhouse, when you talk about greenhouse effect, the next thing you should write about is your global warming. They are all because of greenhouse effect, you have your global warming. Okay, right, now let's go on. All right, we're done with this. Next one. Again, some more. There's a lot of points. So you can be more technical because some factories, they will produce all this sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, or the nitrous oxide effluent from the factory. So all this will be released into the air. Then it will dissolve in the rainwater, and then the next thing to say, you will get acid rain. So acid rain is because of these two gases, not other gases. Don't talk about the carbon monoxide and other things, not carbon dioxide. It is sulfur dioxide and your nitrous oxides. Okay, so next one, this acid rain will flow into the river. So when it goes into the river, it is acidic. Remember, it is going to reduce the pH of the water. So it's going to be acidic. And some plants do not grow very well in acidic environment. That will lead to water pollution. It reduces the soil fertility. That means kesuburan tanah, it was not so fertile anymore because it's too acidic. And organisms can die. Organisms in the river, okay, organisms in the pond can die. And then that will cause, when organisms die, it's going to affect the food chain, because an organism is definitely a food chain, a food for another organism. Okay, you're going to get disruption of food chain. And then when you have disruption, you don't have your balanced ecosystem already lah. Okay, your certain species are no longer there. So it's going to be imbalanced ecosystem because your food chain is affected. Release of harmful poisonous gases. This is another point. Okay, you can talk about the release of these poisonous gases. It can also cause haze, smog, or air pollution, because this is general, I think, to the environment, to human as well. Okay? Block the stoma of the leaf. So for the plant, this haze, all these little dust particles, they're going to block the stoma, and then it will reduce the rate of photosynthesis because you need gases to go inside. Okay, need your carbon dioxide to go inside your stomata. Then next one, all right, heat release from generator. You can see that when you need water to cool down the machinery, the water absorbs the heat from the machine, the water becomes hot. And then where do you do with the water? What do you do with the water? The water you pour back into the river. Okay, so it's going to increase the water temperature of the river. So remember, when the water temperature increases, actually the dissolved oxygen will decrease. When you boil water, the ability of the water to store oxygen or to dissolve the oxygen or diluted oxygen will become less. So hot water will have definitely less oxygen. Okay, so this causes thermal pollution, reduces dissolved oxygen in the water, then causes the death of organisms because less oxygen. Okay, not so directly the hot water touches the body of the animal. It is more because of the reduced oxygen, diluted oxygen or dissolved oxygen in the water. Okay, next one, any 10 points. You can see you got 28 points, lots to write about. They only look for 10 points. Okay, now let's go on. Okay, I think this is the last part of the question. Okay, let me go on. Now, this picture is not given by the question. I just put it in for decoration. Okay, so explain the importance of maintaining the river as a habitat in the ecosystem. Okay, why is it important to make sure your river is not polluted? Okay, let me talk about the importance of river. And next question, describe ways to improve the water quality of river for better survival. How are you going to improve the quality of the river? Okay, make sure the river is better quality, the water becomes better. So you got to think of some ways. Okay, so how to maintain, or no, not how to maintain. Why is it important to maintain? Because you want to maintain the biodiversity. The biodiversity just means many different types of animals and plants. So if your river is polluted, definitely the animals inside there will start dying. So when your animals die, you're going to have maybe extinction of certain species. There is no more biodiversity. Okay, so this is maintaining a balanced ecosystem, the environment, the interaction between the environment and the animal, including the plants and the animals. Okay, and also the environment. Okay, river is a source of water. So for people who live by the river, water is very important. As you know, water, you can't survive without water. So river is an important source of water for people who stay near the river and so on. It's also a breeding place for organisms, for animals who live in the river, like frogs. They will lay their eggs inside the river and so on. Okay, breeding place. Maintaining major sources of human food. So your fishes there is your human food. So if you do not look after your rivers, you are going to have lack of fish there, and you're going to have lack of food. Okay. Next, sustain food web or chain in the ecosystem. So when you have a healthy river, you have a healthy food chain. Okay, so your animal, you have this animal A eaten by B, B eaten by C, and so on. So it's a continuity of your food chain. Right. Next one, then you preserve natural resources for outdoor or recreational activities. So if your river is clean, it can be a research site. It can be a place for you to do your kayaking, for your outdoor activities. And this is good for the mind. So people need to relax, reducing stress. Okay, river is a good place for you to unwind. Okay, you listen to the gurgle of the river. Okay, you like all the nature sounds and all that. So it's promoting healthy lifestyle. Okay, ecotourism attraction. Okay, you can also have the waterfall or this river, all this, as if it's very beautiful, you will attract tourists to come. Okay, and of course spend the money here and so on. Right? So any 4 points, you can see you already got 9 points. So any point that is logical, it may not be this list. So environmental issues are very open. As long as it's logical, it can be accepted within certain reason. Okay, you cannot have totally a new thing that you invent. All right, okay, so next one now, we go to the last part now. Describe ways to improve the water quality of the river. How to improve water quality? What can you do? Okay, so what can you do? Treat the effluent. Okay, should be E spelling a wrong spelling. So treat the water. Effluent is the waste, the what they call the dirty water, the effluent. Before draining into the river, before you throw into the river, you make sure you treat it first. Use chemical, refilter it, or you remove certain poisonous substance there. Okay. River water has less, so that the river will have less of free from poisonous substances. So number 2 is actually related to number 1. Number 1, you do this so that number 2 can happen. Okay. And then this one, when the river is not free from poisonous, you will cause death to the organic or the aquatic organisms. Okay, next one. Another one is planting more trees, replanting the trees at the river bank. All right. Okay, and then we will prevent soil erosion because the soil, the root will hold on to the soil. And when the rain comes, when there's heavy rain, the water, the soil will not be easily pushed into the river. And if it goes in the river, actually it's bad for the river because your soil will displace the water and your river will become more shallow. Okay. And then of course, when river becomes more shallow, it's very easy to dry up. Your river is gone already. Okay. So the plants provide oxygen. So having plants by the riverside also provides oxygen because of photosynthesis. Okay, for respiration of aquatic organisms. Sorry, not from plants, it's in the water. Having plants in the water because it's respiration for aquatic organisms. Okay, so having plants in the water is good. It increases the oxygen supply. Okay, next. Organize awareness campaign. So you can organize awareness campaign, cintailah sungai kita, or whatever. Okay, you have a slogan or a motto. Okay, to encourage, to tell people it's very important you keep your river clean. Do not throw rubbish into your river. Okay, and it can be implemented through schools, in schools, or mass media. Okay, social media, social. Okay, for future generations. I don't know why that's a point. That's a point for future generations. So you can talk about that. You can also have other things. Restrict the disposal. Try not to throw rubbish into the river. Chemicals, pesticides, poisonous substance. Reduce the use of fertilizer. That's important. Otherwise, you will have eutrophication. Okay. Reduce water pollution. Okay, or reduce the BOD level. Okay. Use biological control methods instead of putting chemicals to kill your pesticide or kill your animal that eats your plant. You use a natural enemy to go and kill off. The good thing is because they only affect that pests. They do not affect the other animals in that habitat. All right, so they're very specific. So that is the advantage. All right. This is what you do. Pollution free. So we try to do not release any pollutants. Do not try to burn so many things. All right. That is going to release your gases. Restrict the building of new factories nearby the river. So this one government have to do. Government have to set guidelines to make sure that you cannot have too many factories, new buildings nearby the river. Okay, and avoid releasing more pollutants. Try not to release so much pollutants into the environment. Enforce environmental act. This one you cannot do. This one make sure it's government. Make sure you understand. So if you ask what you can do, don't write this. You cannot enforce. It's not for your point. Okay, what you can do, you can organize campaign. You can advise people, but you cannot enforce the law. This one will not be given as a mark if you say what you can do. Okay, install filter in the fume chamber. This is for factory owners to filter the poisonous gas before it's released into the air. So these are the points that can be used. So any 6 points from there. Okay, so you will see that actually there are a lot of points that you can write as long as it's logical. That's why your knowledge have to be quite good. Okay, your knowledge have to be quite good, and it's not very fixed answers. Sometimes it is very flexible. But again, that also can be a bad point. Too flexible also no good, right? You do not know what is needed. So, but anyway, just look at some example answers or essay, okay? And do not forget, try to also think about your immunity because we have this COVID-19 thing around us. Endemic is already pandemic or become endemic also. So please make sure that you learn about your COVID-19 and relate that to immunity. Okay, and also herd immunity. Try to read up. That is my tip for you If I have any tip I expect there's going to be something on your COVID-19. I could be wrong, all right, but it's always better to be prepared Okay, so don't forget your immunity and your COVID-19. Okay, so I hope that I've tried my best to give you an idea of what you may want to, as an essay, what are the points that you can write if it's environmental issues. And also the calculation, easy way for you to remember. Okay, so I hope that I have helped you as much as I can. So this weekend, I'm sure tomorrow you'll be studying your physics, all right? Make sure you study your own, all right? study, you need to study on your own, right? You cannot be like, taking materials from people. You have to do your own thing. Okay, so I hope to see you another time. After this, I'm going to rest during the holidays, and when school reopens, I will start back my teaching lah, for the probably from 4 or probably from 5. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so I will see you hopefully, and good luck. Definitely, I wish you the best of luck in your SPM paper 2, paper 1 as well, paper 2 and everything lah. All right. So I hope just stay calm, just revise, and any problems, right, just make sure you open your mouth and ask. There are many people who are willing to help you, okay, including myself. So please, if you want to ask me, I'll give you my this one, my Telegram. You need to ask me, but I'm not sure about the tips, so don't get me wrong. I'm not going to give you any tips. I dare not, because I don't have any proper reliable tips. I scared if I give you anything, I may put you wrong off track. Okay, so I hope to see you another time. All right, so thank you for supporting my channel. I wish you all the best in your SPM. Okay, all right, bye bye. I'll see you. Okay, bye bye. Thank you and good best of luck. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.